We have more comments, people, and as usual, I will be in top form in 6th gear. I'm someone who definitely call themselves a progressive and pretty damn left. How the hell did they get in my comment section? I need some security around here. This is a leftist-free zone, and I intend to keep it that way. If you come into my comment section, you'd be wise not to out yourself as a leftist. You're essentially stamping your forehead with the words "kick me." The three things that I, as a voter, was focused on this election was the typical irrelevant leftist shite. Oh great, delusional weather gimmicks, baby killing, and the cringe fringe. Nice to know you have your priorities straight. I dare say we're dealing with a college leftist here, people, and if they're out of college, oh dear lord, that's somehow even worse. I have staked my changes as a human being with these issues on what I consider to be facts. What you consider to be facts. I gather by that admission you're insinuating you don't know if they're facts, you're assuming they are because they fit your narrative. We call that faith, you minion. I research all the time, spamming extra doubt, and I often see conservatives utterly ignorant to facts. Well, considering your previous declaration of what you consider facts, it's likely they think you're an idiot, and judging from this comment, I am very much inclined to agree with their assessment. So let me ask, could you provide a fact that discredits any of my concerns? You and your ilk are the only reason those concerns exist, by the way. Any sane male would scoff and brush you off your flimsy pedestal like your crumbs. Bear in mind this one challenged me to a debate, and I am going to decline for any number of reasons. The main one being, I've said previously, all debates are pointless because debates don't actually change anyone's minds. And online especially, it's merely two avatars for their positions throwing shit at each other. It's not about an exchange of ideas, it's about who wins, and considering I'm not a hypocrite, my position on the matter is clear. Besides, I've seen enough leftists try and debate. If I'm going to blow out my ears and get a headache, I'm going to do so listening to Alice in Chains, not some shrieking autist. Because anyone who's deep into this knows the position of a mind that's capable of learning. Those positions listed there has nothing to do with politics. Those characteristics are indicators of an indoctrinated mind belonging to a cult. Because that's straight up all leftism is. It's a secular religion. It is a cult. Secondly, here's some advice for you, kid. And I'm going to call you a kid, because judging by your writing, whatever plane of existence you reside in is clearly not one inhabited by adults. Do not call conservatives ignorant to facts, considering you lay claim to the phrase, what I consider facts. Especially if prior you espouse your concerns as a voter to be the delusional weather gimmick, baby killing, and the cringe fringe. The level of disconnect is frankly embarrassing, and people are going to want to smack you upside your tits, and their actions would be fairly justified. But this is what happens when these lemming-like nitwits make equality the end-all and be-all of their entire world. Nothing in nature is ever equal, and to make it so requires force. The moment you push for an entity that is capable of enforcing equality on that grand of a scale, you're already granting it far more power than anything else in your whole society, which naturally would upset your balance of equality and make your utopian ideal impossible. You're essentially asking for a benevolent dictator, which is why Molbach pointed out leftism's biggest opponent is reality, and reality will always win. When the country is in a recession, worst inflation crisis in 40 years, a horde-like invasion across a non-existent border, rampant crime and drug problems, as well as fueling this needless confrontation with a nuclear superpower, and yet none of those things make your list of concerns as a voter, while you astoundingly claim you research all the time, whatever the hell that means, people are going to hate you for being an ignorant, self-centered piece of shit. I find it hilarious this wench is going to give me crap for being anti-democratic, and this is how their mind works, and I use that term extremely loosely. The left will always claim to care about the collective, but when it comes to voting, much like women, they don't give a flying asshole about the concerns of the collective. No. It is just me. The cringe fringe are not special, by the way. Well, at least not in the unique sense. Definitely in the you desperately need to wear a helmet kind of special, though. And if your concern about the economy is merely climate change, then sweet holy Moses. That is a colossal mountain of retard I wouldn't even know where to begin to scale. Imagine looking at someone who claims they can do trigonometry and you damn well know they can't even do addition. It's a bit like that. Far as the outlandish claims of the science on climate change is clear, listen here, pal. The water in Africa's rivers are clearer than the climate science. Let me explain to you how the real world works here, kid. Don't know if you've noticed this, but in the last 3 years or so, we had all manner of so-called experts tell us all kinds of bullshit in the name of the borderline cult-like slogan, trust the science. Well, funnily enough, many of the scientists were full of shit. Because as it turns out, putting an insanely large amount of power into the hands of people with zero accountability, well, they might just try and take advantage of that. And we later discovered, the bullshit they were trying to push on society had absolutely no scientific basis whatsoever. And all of those skeptical and rational people who the gullible morons who trusted the science as they sat on Zoom meetings with masks on inside their own homes, as they brag about getting yet another booster because they caught the coup for the 50th time that freaking year, they derided as tinfoil hat-wearing idiots because they didn't need the ramblings of some retard with a PhD after their name to tell you you're all full of shit. We're right all along. My word, how did us plebeian pea-brained little people figure that one out all by ourselves? So please do forgive me if I tell you to go shove your science up your ass. Good luck getting it to fit, your head's already up there anyway. If you've ever read Intellectuals in Society by Thomas Sowell, you know how this gig works. These scientists will greatly exaggerate and lie about the importance of their field because that's how they get funding. You think anyone would pay attention to them if they said, well, it's not really that big a problem, we don't need any money? They won't ever get any with that attitude. So they have every incentive to bullshit their lungs out. If society does what the so-called experts advise, if nothing happens, they will go, see, this is because of our great policies and ideas. If shit hits the fan, they will go, well, if you didn't do our ideas and policies, it would have been even worse. This is how the game is played. You literally have no idea if anything you ever read by anyone is legit. You assume so based on the PhD title and the prestige that's been built around whatever university they attended. Your scientific facts, such as they are heavily faith-based, whether you realize this or not. I suspect in this case they won't. And if they end up throwing some spooky hissy fit in my comment section, well, it would just prove my point. Of course, the government is going to follow this bullshit. It's going to give them significantly more power and control. Why the hell would I ever listen to any expert that the government favors? That screams red flag sketchy. Not to mention, there's never been a single climate prediction in the last 60 years that has ever come to fruition. Why in the name of all that is sane and holy would I listen to any of these idiots when they've never been right in over 6 decades? Hell, the increased weather effects came before the CO2 increase, not after. So how on earth you can say A causes B when B happens before A is simply ludicrous. Hell, I did a video on Florida's top worst hurricanes, and it was not this linear progression always getting worse. In fact, it was the total opposite. The jumps going up the list in severity were by several decades going back and forth, all in the last century with one outlier past 2000, the worst of them being in the former half of the last century. Not to mention a bunch of losers who can't even identify the difference between men and women are claiming to follow the science with the delusion that they can somehow defy or even stop Mother Nature herself is a level of unbelievable arrogance I can't even fathom. So do tell me, oh gross hippie with dyed pubic hair, have you ever planted a tree, done any gardening, or frankly any work with your bare hands that would somehow improve the environment? I somehow doubt it. So you're just another whining pleb that's going to beg the state to solve a problem, and their solution is to destroy the economy and grant themselves ever more power. Well done, you moron. What the hell is the government going to do anyway? They never solve any problems. Private enterprise and human ingenuity solves problems. If you give a damn about this issue, fuck the state, get off your fat ass and pull some money together or try and crowdfund some engineers. Until then, shut the hell up, you stuck-up tool, and get the fuck out of my comment section.